Hello and welcome to Allbox Spain Health and Wellbeing channel. You're listening to Craig, and today we're going to be talking to Soraya Jenkins from CBD Natural, based over here in sunny Spain. The show, you've heard it all before, I'll say it again, there's no hold barred and there's no hidden agenda on this. I'm just trying to interview as many professionals as I can in the health and wellbeing industry to make you realise that there's more to getting better, more to better health than a man in a white coat or a tub of pills. There's professionals out there who do therapies, treatments, provide stuff that is really, really good for you, but maybe you don't know enough about it. So today we're going to be talking to Soraya, and if we're really lucky, Soraya may come back again because it's quite a big subject. And we're going to talk about CBD. So Soraya, thank you very much for your time and welcome to my little show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. I mean, I met you, Soraya, with a quick introduction for the viewers. I met you from my doggy who was poorly, and I come to you for help for CBD, which helped with her considerably. So I thought, when I'm doing this health and wellness thing, and I wanted to talk about CBD, you were the professional that sprung to mind. So can you maybe introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what you do?
Okay, so we opened the shop CBD Natural 3 years ago. We were trading online for 2 or 3 years before that. We've got our own seed company also, which has been trading for 30 years, started in the UK in 1992. Back then, CBD wasn't known about the way it is now. I'd say over the last 10, 15 years, there's been so much education and trials, and so many people have been using it and completely changed their opinion on the whole subject. So yeah.
So tell us what, tell us your background, because I saw something online, and I like to do this just so people know I haven't dragged someone in off the street and pretended to talk something. I noticed online you've done some master class or something in herbalism. Is that right? What?
That's right, yes, a diploma in herbalism, and also dietary and nutrition, fighting illnesses with food and diet. Because it's not all about CBD or cannabis, it's about everything as a whole. As you know, it's all about balance, you know.
I think Hippocrates was alleged to have said, wasn't he, let food be thy medicine, not medicine be thy food. And I totally subscribe to this. We have the ability to heal ourselves, whether it's through food, whether it's with Reiki, whether it's acupuncture, but I believe we can heal ourselves. But we focus too much on the pharmacia and the chemists and the men in white coats. So that's really interesting. Definitely. I didn't know that you'd done that as well.
I mean, me myself, I was diagnosed at the age of 25 with rheumatoid arthritis, which I believe that was caused from having a shockingly poor diet. No vegetables, no meat, no fruit, no vitamins, no nutrients for many years. So therefore I ended up with this chronic lifetime illness, and with the help of cannabis, with the help of a healthy diet and better lifestyle choices, my life has improved considerably over the years. But it took a lot of time to get things into my head, you know. As far as diet and lifestyle was concerned, I've had quite a lot of bad habits myself, which I've had to work on, but I'm getting there. And
that's interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, bad habits, I said on one of my other shows, and I think it was, I was speaking to Tony Harrington from Slimwell Spain, and bad habits, bad habits are generally quite enjoyable, aren't they? But they're so debilitating for us, whether that's eating junk food, the wrong food, leading a sedentary lifestyle. When bad habits are enjoyable, and if you're in that rut, it can be quite hard, can't it, to sort of lift yourself out and get onto the better level.
And it's all about balance. You can do things, you can eat food which is not necessarily healthy, or do things which is not necessarily healthy in moderation.
Absolutely.
But when you're doing it on a regular basis, then that has an impact on your future, on your health, on your whole life as a whole. So
I went through a period. I lost some weight, and I called it a lifestyle change. I'm very much into nutrition as well, and I used to have what's called a Fat Friday because, and I work with a number of clients with Allbox, and I say to them, if you try and diet, the first three letters of diet are die. But also, if you try and abstain from those things that you enjoy, like maybe an alcoholic drink, a piece of chocolate, a bit of, I don't know, cheeseburger, if that tickles your fancy. If you try and abstain, then you'll crave and you'll yo-yo diet. You'll end up falling off the wagon. You'll end up going back. Whereas I had a Fat Friday, and every Friday I would literally eat whatever I wanted, and it would be loads of sugar, loads of salt. It would be awful food, but it sustained me for the rest of the week. For the rest of the week, I didn't look at bad food, you know. So I agree with you. The balance is really important. So getting on the CBD then, what is CBD?
CBD is a chemical compound which naturally forms within a cannabis plant, along with over 100 other cannabinoids, terpenoids, flavonoids, and other phytochemicals, all which naturally occur within a plant. And all of these things, all of these ingredients, all of these chemical compounds, they all work together to provide healthcare treatments, if you like. We've got what's called an endocannabinoid system, which is cannabinoid receptors. And I think the most easiest, simple way to explain is if you imagine empty plug sockets right throughout your body, and cannabinoids being the plugs to fit into the socket, and each socket has got its own cannabinoid to fit into. By having a regular intake of cannabinoids can provide a better, healthier life. For example, our endocannabinoid system, I'm dead.
It's fine. I find this interesting. So does that mean, am I right or am I wrong in thinking that like cannabinoids and cannabis and things like that is just like the plant, the benefits we get from a plant-based diet? You know, there's a big rave about plant-based, and plants help us, and they get rid of all those. Obviously, we're not medical professionals, so we can't say it does, but they can get rid of loads of horrible illnesses and problems we have. So is cannabis like that? Is it in the same family as the plant-based?
Very much like that. It's a plant, it's a herb. It's very much like that. And you can take any other plant or herb or natural ingredient, for example, a piece of fruit, and if you were to take only one compound out of that piece of fruit to make, for example, supplements, is that necessarily an effective treatment as much as taking that whole piece of fruit? You know? So it's a lot of talk about CBD, but actually it's not all about CBD, it's about the whole plant. Yeah.
I mean, I won't lie, and you know, this is my little show, so within reason we can talk about what we want. And I'm from a law enforcement background in the military, but I've always seen the alleged benefits of cannabis in people with illnesses, some of the dreadful illnesses out there that kill people, and seeing people who have turned to it, or the oil-based version, and seem to have had a miraculous recovery. And so it's always been, I've never been against it. I've never taken it. I've never been against it. But on my path now, certainly with my spiritual and body, mind and spirit journey that I'm on, I'm I look at it and think, well, surely it's just part of the plant-based family. So why is it being demonized? Because, you know, I say it all the time, but more people on alcohol commit more crime than people on cannabis. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, you know, I've never known anyone, maybe it's happened, but I've never known anyone commit a mass murder whilst they've had cannabis or CBD, or, you know what I mean? So it's
the answer to the question, to what you just said, why is it looked at as a bad thing? Why are people scared of it? Why are people thinking that they're going to come to harm from using it? Because it's what we've been pumped through the media, you know. It's because there's a lot more money to be made in pharmaceutical products and various other industries like the oil industry and materials. There is so much. I mean, this medication-wise is huge what it can do, but also the other things, the materials that can be made from hemp. We could have stopped like the trouble with all the trees being cut down, the forestry being cut down to make all this paper which is going to the ocean. This didn't have to be. It really didn't have to be, because we could have just used hemp to make so many things and save the plastic and the paper, the wood industry. But then would that have been financially beneficial to our government?
So hemp's part of the cannabis plant as well, is it? What's hemp? You mentioned hemp there. Some people might not understand what hemp is.
It's from the same family as cannabis. The main difference between hemp and cannabis is the cannabinoids. Cannabis can contain quite a lot of THC, which is the illegal component, and hemp will contain very little THC. And hemp is also used to make fabric, to make oil, to make fuel. You could run a car. You could actually make and run a car from hemp plants.
Wow.
You could reduce. Everything you make with plastic, you could make from hemp. Oh gosh, this just goes on and on.
There is a lot more to this, isn't there, than CBD?
It is, yeah.
Very
CBD
interesting.
is literally just one tiny little compound to the whole thing.
Why, I'm going to put you on the spot now, and if I have, just tell me shut up, or next question. Why are we only allowed the CBD element of a cannabis plant? Do you think?
It's not that we're only allowed to have CBD, because we're allowed to have all of the cannabinoids. We're allowed to have all of the compounds that is within a cannabis plant, but we're not allowed to have the THC, which is one cannabinoid, the psychoactive cannabinoids, which make you stoned or high.
Right.
But also, as back to our endocannabinoid system, our two main receptors that in our brain is CB1 and CB2. Other cannabinoids can stimulate these receptors, but only THC are the plugs to fit into these sockets, So obviously our bodies are designed to have somewhat THC.
And so what, because am I right in thinking that it's this element that people in the media have sort of claimed it's that element that's helped them with really bad diseases? It's that element that has been key with some bad diseases. Is that right?
Very much, yes. I mean, take cancer, for example.
Yeah.
Some cancers will react better to a high CBD with a low THC. Some cancers will react better to a high THC and a low CBD. Some cancers will also react better to a one-to-one, an equal amount of THC and CBD. Okay. Because cancers are all different. We all think cancer and it's one thing, but there are different types of cancers, and obviously it affects people differently and people react to treatments differently. One thing I think is really sad is when people come to me looking for cannabis to treat things like very progressive cancers, and they may be at stage 4 and they've exhausted all the pharmaceutical treatment and the available medication, and then they're looking for cannabis as maybe a cure. But in that case, you're not just dealing with the progressive cancer, you're dealing with all the problems that the other medication and the other treatment is likely to have caused by this stage. So to then looking for cures is a bit strong, but I mean, it can certainly give a better quality of life.
So do you think And again, I know neither of us are medical professionals, but in your experience, do you think there's more chance, there's a better effect if people look at it as a first resort as opposed to a last resort, like you just sort of explained?
Definitely. I mean, the stories of success that I know of are much higher rated when it's their first resort rather than the last resort. But at the same time, I do know people who have used it as their last resort and have gone against all odds, and not only outlived their predicted time, they've stopped their cancer or their tumour from growing, and in some cases even shrunk it. So I think that's a combination of cannabis. I think it's a combination of lifestyle choices and diet and a very, very strong-minded person as well, obviously. Somebody who's not going to give up the fight that easily.
So, sorry, go on.
No, go on.
So talking about people then, Soraya, what sort of, obviously without breaching confidentiality, what sort of people come to you? What sort of range of concerns, or why do they come to you? Do they come to you because it's, you know, I'm trying to open up what can CBD help with in your experience? You know, the people that have come to you, what have they come in help for? If that makes sense.
Well, people are using CBD and cannabis-based products to treat symptoms like pain and inflammation from either injuries or painful conditions, skin problems like cuts and infections, dermatitis, eczema, psoriasis. Also used for mental health issues like depression and anxiety, ADHD, autism, PTSD, issues to treat things like tumors and even seizures also.
I'm interested in that, the mental health side, because, and maybe it's something I should leave to a bit later with the myths, but people, and I know I'm mixing the two here because I'm talking about CBD and we're bringing cannabis in as well. People allege that cannabis can make you paranoid, so it can affect your mental health. What's your experience of that, Soraya? Is that an overuse, or?
I think some people, to take too much THC is not a good thing. Some people get paranoid, some people do get negative effects from using especially strong THC. If you are using cannabis as a treatment for something like mental health issues, there's plenty of options, different ratios of cannabinoids to use without the high THC, with the legal limit 0.2%, which people are using very effectively. So yeah.
How would someone take THC? What sort of form does it come in? THC, is it, do you smoke it? Do you inhale it? Do you?
Well, it grows on the plant, and when it's ready, when it's dried, it can be smoked as it is in flower. You can make extractions, oils out of it. The oil is the most strongest form, and I do agree that that can be quite dangerous in the hands of the wrong people, especially children and animals. So
this is the CBD oil, can be,
yeah,
if it's,
I'm
saying this is the CBD oil that if it's in the wrong hands, it can be dangerous. The CBD oil, if in the wrong hands.
THC. Okay. I thought you were on about THC. You said then. How do you use it?
Oh right, so yeah, CBD.
But oh, you'll have to take that, eh? Start that bit again. What did you say? What was the question?
I was wondering about the CBD. How does that come? In what form does CBD come? Does it come in tablet form, liquid form?
CBD can come in flower form, which you can smoke or make edibles with. You can extract the oil in its purest form with, and like I say, it's not all about CBD. To me, I'm going off the subject, we'll get to that in a minute, but it can be used as the oil as an oral treatment or topical treatment. You've got creams and balms and also vape liquids and teas and edibles. The possibilities are absolutely endless.
Wow.
You can add it to so many aspects of your life. It's not actually all about medicating or recreational. I mean, some people are using CBD and hemp products just for a part of their healthy everyday living. You don't have to have a problem or a health condition to reap the benefits from the product.
That's interesting, because that was something I was going to ask actually, was do you only get people who come to you with problems or issues, or do you get people who use it as part of their healthy choice lifestyle? That's, you know, they're healthy and it's something that they use in their life.
Yeah, well, like I say, you've got the oral treatment, which generally you need to take daily for the benefits of that. But we've got creams and balms and body care, like body lotion, sun cream, hair shampoo, daily face creams. The range is quite a range.
I'm probably going to sound wrong when I say this, but this is similar, and this isn't a competition thing. This is similar to like aloe vera. Aloe vera is a plant-based product. Aloe vera, they seem to put in everything. They can put aloe vera virtually in everything, can't they? So in that aspect, it's quite similar, isn't it? It can be used almost in anything that comes into contact with our body, inside or out, maybe.
Yeah, and we've got hemp with other plant extracts specifically for certain skin conditions, or maybe to help with sleep, improve sleep, or maybe for allergies. Some people suffer with allergies.
So you said 10, 15 years, it's come a long way. What do you think your vision is, or even wish is, for, let's talk about it as a whole, the cannabis plant? Because we're using part of it now legally. Do you see the world going like some states in America have, where, you know, I believe that they can be prescribed cannabis for medical? I think in UK they've done that now as well. But do you ever think it will be, dare I use the word released, because that sounds like it's something bad, but open and legal for social use? Am I allowed to say that? You know, do you think it'll ever become that way?
I think that there's more chance that it's going to become more accepted for recreational use. And I think, yes, more accepted and more used for medical use. But I think the problem we face is, for example, Epidiliacs. It's a product prescribed to children with 2 types of epilepsy. And for the same sort of product in a shop like this, it's going to cost you around €700 for a year treatment, whereas GW Pharmaceutical is selling it for £40,000. So do the government want tax of, say, €700, or do the government want tax of £40,000? I think it's a no-brainer as far as to where the whole industry is going to be ending up soon enough, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you've hit a valid point there.
I think, though, that to use recreational will become much more accepted. And too many people know the benefits of cannabis. Too many people have already accepted the variant uses of cannabis. So to just eliminate it again, it would be quite difficult, but they can monopolise it, definitely. Yeah.
And I think with social media now and doing things like this, where word gets around the globe virtually instantly. People are realizing, like you said, the benefits of it, and to demonize it is you force it. You won't stop it. You'll just force it to go underground. The question I was going to ask you, and I paused there because I had a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? A senior moment. What about those people out there that say, yeah, but Soraya, you know, if you start on that raw, it leads to all that other stuff, you know, the heroin, the cocaine, the ecstasy. Yeah, once you start on one, you've heard it before, haven't you?
Yeah.
And what would you say to them?
Absolute rubbish. My opinion, absolute rubbish. I get called things like when I put adverts on Facebook and this and that, I get called things like drug dealer and, oh, you druggie this and you druggie that. But I'm so anti-drug. I do not take any pharmaceutical drugs. I don't, you know, I just don't see, I think that whole concept of, oh, you're going to use cannabis and then you're going to be this big druggie within time. It's all what all the media has been publishing over the last 20 years or so.
Programming.
And that's the problem with this world, this society. It's all media run. Everything's run by the media. Everybody relies on everything they hear in the media and they accept it.
You are so 100% on point, Soraya. You wouldn't believe how much I share that opinion you just made. I think you're right. The programming is a key thing, and it's being able to be brave enough to think for yourself and go and find the facts out for yourself. And that doesn't just go for this. That goes for anything in life, and not necessarily being fed that party line. But I think with, you know, the cannabis thing is it's sort of it really was and always was demonized. And so when the CBD element come of that, people still associated it with cannabis. They still thought, and it's, you know, and you said something very interesting at the beginning about the chemicals of pharmaceutical products. How many people actually know what's in the pharmaceutical product they take? And how many people know and have researched what every single part of that product may do to them in terms of side effects, compared to something that's natural? I suppose on a lower level, it's like processed foods versus whole foods, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had to face this decision myself when I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and I waited 9 months to be diagnosed, literally in agony. And when I went to see the rheumatologist, he prescribed me a drug called methotrexate, which is absolutely toxic. And he gave me an A4 booklet of the side effects that come with it. And it's no drinking, no, you can't have children with it. And the side effects were just endless. And on the first page, in big bold letters, bigger than all the other letters, may cause death. So I'm like, I'm not really happy about this. And the specialist said, well, you know, you've got to take it, Soraya, because you're only going to go down from here. You know, you need to take it. But my dad made me this oil, which was high in THC, and I couldn't digest it because I couldn't function properly, even though I used THC smoke. But I was using it topically, and for the first time in so long, I was pain-free. And I was so excited to go and see my specialist rheumatologist, and I told him what I've been doing, and his face dropped to the floor, and he said, he told me I was a stupid girl, and that if I didn't take this methotrexate, I'd be in a wheelchair in my 30s. Well, I'm almost 40, and comparing my 30s to my 20s, it's a different world for me, a completely different world, and I'm so much healthier and mobile and completely pain-free.
Without pharmaceutical products.
Yeah, I wonder where I would be now if I was to take that methotrexate. What are the problems would I have going on for myself right now? you know. So I can't say I've never wondered if I've done the right thing, because you always hear them words, wheelchair, you know, that was quite
Yeah, absolutely.
severe to hear. And I don't regret for 1 minute what I've done.
What
I've also gone on to have another child, which I might not have been able to if I'd have taken that medicine.
Wow.
So yeah.
What I like about this, Soraya, is, and I know people like as well, is you're talking from first-hand experience. You're not promoting something. Your business isn't about something that you believe is good for people. You can talk first-hand your own story, which is really interesting. And to see you now, albeit you sat down, but I've seen you obviously in the shop and that, I wouldn't have had a clue that the rheumatoid arthritis was part of your life. And if you're owing it to the CBD element and the other parts of that cannabis plant, then you clearly took the right choice. Clearly, you know, and no one should ever be able to tell you otherwise, should they? You know?
Yeah, I wouldn't change what I've done. But you know, I could never stand here or sit here and tell people, you need to do this, you need to do that. But what I can say is, you need to do as much research as you can on your own condition, and you need to set your own goals of what you want to achieve and what kind of life you want to live, whether that be miserable and through pain, or whether that be pain-free and be as mobile as possible, whatever the reason is. And it's got to be your decision. Everything you do as far as diet and lifestyle, it's got to be your own decision. And you're the one that's got to take it every day. And there's a lot of information that is available, and people are not looking. People who don't know, they're just simply not looking. If they look, they will find it.
I think it's one of the things I say, life, for the majority of us who are born able-bodied and physically and mentally able, we all have choices. We all have those T-junctions and turnings that we can all take. And like you said, research and decisions is part of those choices. And you can choose to suffer for the rest of your life, or, and I don't want to upset people when I say this, but you can try and find that solution. You can either accept what you're being told by the men in white coats, but I've seen so many times people have been condemned to a certain condition by the doctors, and you're clearly one of those people. And actually they've gone and done their own thing, and they've proved the doctors wrong. They've proved them wrong. And that's really important, isn't it? Making that choice and making those decisions.
Yeah, very important.
So very quickly then, Soraya, because believe it or not, we've been gassing for like over half an hour. What type of people have come to you? Have you got any stories that you could share with us? Sort of, this was them before, this was them after. Yeah, anything again for people who are listening who still like, you know.
I could write a book.
Oh, really? Really? That is interesting.
I could literally write a book.
Okay, if I was to say one of your most memorable, which you turned around and thought, wow, yeah, I knew. But you know, what's one of your most memorable clients changes?
There is a family who I do refer to when I'm talking to people, is that a family, they had 3 autistic children, and the 2 youngest children, they were on 7 pills a day. 1 pill was for the autism. The other 6 pills were counteraction pills. And they went from 7 pills a day to 0 pills a day. Just full spectrum CBD oils. The children are happy, the parents are happy, the family is happy. There's no drugs involved, there's no risk of organ damage or brain damage or any of the risks to go with it. So yeah, that's something I think is quite incredible, because there are lots of children being diagnosed with these conditions and being fed these pills from such a young age, and I don't think that's necessary.
I think I say it on every show, Soraya, right? I think I love the medical services. I think they do a great job. They're amazing at what they do. But I'm still a little bit cynical. You know, me, Craig Badley, who left school with 1 O level, what would I know? But life sort of taught me that a lot of the time we only treat our symptoms of illness or disease. We don't actually hit the root cause, do we? We just masking the get rid of the pain. Well, what's causing the pain? The root cause, you know, and we pump ourselves from. I can't remember the last time I had a tablet. I had a bad back the other day, and I remember a time when I would have reached for a paracetamol, and I won't now because I'm very conscious of what is it? What is in it? You know, really, what's it doing to me inside? How's it stopping the pain? Whereas I would have used to have just gone, oh yeah, it works. Now I'm like, what? Why? What's it doing to me to stop that pain? And I don't know. I'm just a bit more cynical, but I think for that family you mentioned is amazing. And what springs to mind for me is quality of life. Quality of life.
Exactly. And to me, quality of life has got to be the most important goal, because would you want to live forever in pain and misery, or would you want to live whatever time you have in no pain, being able to be aware of your loved ones around you, and whatever your situation is, how severe it is, it's about a better quality of life. That should be everybody's main goal. It's not always about cure. I mean, arthritis is not curable. If I stop taking my oil, if I stop doing the things that I'm doing, then I could end up in an absolute state. It's not curable, but it's not the end of the earth either, because I can
manageable.
do things to make it, to improve my life. So,
and you're managing it, aren't you? You're managing your body with what Mother Nature has given us, what is on the earth. Exactly. You're managing yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Soraya, I could go on all afternoon with this, but I promised I would keep to a time limit for you. Maybe there'd be opportunity in the future sometime for you to come back. That'd be really cool if you're happy to, because I know
I would love to, yeah.
Maybe talk about animals or something. You know, I've got a personal interest in that, obviously, but again, people might not realize the benefits that it could do for our pets. But what I like to do, Soraya, as well, is you've taken your time to join us. I chose you, or I asked you, because I know the reputation you have over here. So, you know, your business, you know, please plug your business. What we'll do, we'll put your contact details on the screen. That'll be ticking along now as we're speaking. However you want people to contact you, we can put that on, and yeah, fire away.
Well, you can either go straight onto the website, you can find us on Facebook or Instagram, you can contact me direct, call to the shop and have a chat.
Okay, so what best way would you like people to find you? What's your Facebook page called?
Facebook is CBD Natural, the same as our Instagram page, CBD Natural. The website is www.spice-cbdoil.com.
Excellent. What we'll do, that's ticking across the bottom. The contact details will also appear underneath this video in YouTube. And this obviously goes up to the podcast as well. So very, not very at all. I've used that word and I don't need to. Thank you so much for today, Soraya. I've learned a lot, and I mean that. I've actually listened, and I've learned quite a lot from you. So I know who I'm going to be coming to if I need to sort things out in the future. So that's been very useful. To the viewers out there, understand that, you know, this is another great professional we've had on the show who's talked about CBD, you know, and the myths associated with CBD and the cannabis connection as well, but how it's benefiting people's lives, their health, their well-being, and their quality of life, like Soraya mentioned. As I always say on every show, and at the end of every show as well, it's not all about the men in the white coats with a stethoscope around their neck, and the answer's not always in the bottom of a jar of pills or indeed the bottom of a jar of alcohol. So look at these shows, understand there's stuff out there to help us, to make us lead a better life, and it's not always a synthetic chemical solution.
I have to say just one thing.
Go on,
As far
Soraya.
as the guys in the white coats and all of this, people will always ask, well, if this cannabis, if this CBD, if this is any good, then why are the doctors not prescribing it? But I can tell you, a doctor can do all his years worth of training. He can do 20 years experience working as a GP. And I can guarantee you he's never, ever, ever been taught one single thing about the endocannabinoid system. So how can he prescribe you or talk to you about any kind of...
And I suppose similarly, whilst we're on that subject, it would face similar sort of ridicule with things like Reiki and acupuncture, and again, natural types of medicine and healing that your average doctor would know nothing about through his studies or his experience. So a very valid point. I think we'll talk again sometime, Soraya. Thank you very much on behalf of the show for coming on today. I really do appreciate it, and it's been really informative. So thank you again, and all the best.
Thank you for talking. We'll see you soon.
We'll indeed.